Hi everyone, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Abados Boats. A pharaoh's favorite way to reach the afterlife was by boat. In Egyptian myth, the sun god Ra traveled through the sky every day, then went down through the underworld at night in his solar boat. It was a representation of the day-night cycle, and of regeneration, life, and the afterlife. For this reason, pharaohs liked to be buried in their own solar boats. It was so they could be transported on their journey to regeneration in the next world. But not very many of these boats have ever been found. The most impressive collection was discovered in October 2000. Archaeologists from the University of Pennsylvania Museum discovered the hull of a wooden ship during an expedition to Abados. Since then, 13 other vessels have been found at the site. They were all built around the year 3000 BC. Who in the world needed 14 boats just to reach the afterlife? That's something that scientists have been trying to answer for a long time. Although the boats were discovered near the funerary enclosure of Pharaoh Khafre, they probably weren't for him. They were put there earlier, probably for a pharaoh from the first dynasty. But archaeologists can't figure out which pharaoh had the boats buried. And now there are a bunch of ancient boats in the desert. Number 9. Hit by space. In most cases, scientists have to go through great lengths to discover meteorites. They go on grueling journeys to the white tundra of Antarctica just to collect pieces of space rocks. But a woman in France didn't even have to leave her porch. She just became the second known person in history to be hit by a meteorite fragment. The space debris bounced off her roof and hit her so hard in the chest that she was left with a bruise. It was 4:00 a.m. local time on July 6, 2023. Nothing good happens at 4 a.m. The unnamed woman was sitting on her porch in the small French town of Schermek. At first, she thought a bat had flown right into her chest. Then she saw the tiny rock, only 1.8 ounces, sitting at her feet. She took the interesting artifact to geosciences consultant Terry Redman at the University of Basel. He confirmed that it had been superheated in the atmosphere. The rock was made primarily from iron and silicon, fairly standard for meteorites. The consultant told local news that discovering a meteorite is rare. Even just to find one on your own property is an exceptionally lucky thing. But to have a physical piece of the cosmos fall from the sky and hit you in the chest is unheard of. Experts have estimated the chance of being hit by a meteorite at about 1 in 840 million. The only other person confirmed to have been hit by a space rock was Anne Hodges in 1954. She was hit by a meteorite that weighed almost 10 pounds at her home in Alabama. It broke through her roof and landed on her while she was sleeping, leaving Anne hospitalized. And now for number 8. But first, it's shoutout time! I want to give a big thank you to Goblin Kings and Leslie Hernandez for supporting this channel. Thank you so much! Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos about amazing discoveries, or dinosaurs, or mysteries. We've got it all! Number 8. Unexpected grenade. In May 2023, the unexpected discovery of an old family artifact turned into a tragedy. A father and his 2 sons were going through the belongings of their grandfather when they came across a hand grenade from World War II. According to the Lake County Sheriff's Office in Indiana, one of them pulled its pin. The grenade went off exactly like it was supposed to. Both sons were hospitalized with serious injuries, riddled with hot metal shrapnel. Their father, 47-year-old Brian Neidert, was killed in the explosion. Believe it or not, this is hardly the only time a grenade has gone off and killed somebody recently. A few days before Christmas in 2020, a teenager in Virginia purchased a grenade at an antiquities mall. He thought it was an inert World War II-era Mk2 grenade. Then it exploded and killed him. Antique grenades are definitely not something that should be kept around. Number 7. A lost purse. A school in Texas recently underwent some renovations. During the work, contractors made an unexpected discovery beneath the floorboards. They found a small plastic purse filled with a menagerie of strange items. The items belonged to a 13-year-old child decades ago. The child was undoubtedly a student at League City School, about 26 miles from Houston. Senior communications specialist Sydney Hunt told CNN that the purse was still completely intact. That is, other than a few holes that were chewed out by a mischievous rodent. The items pulled out of the purse told an entire story. It was like putting together a puzzle. There were family photos, a handkerchief, and a calendar. The calendar was opened to April of 1959. There were even some handwritten notes that read like diary entries. One note read, "The next night at the teen club, we started going steady." Sydney Hunt said the note is a fantastic representation of what a teenager was like during the end of the 50s. The purse was an unexpected time capsule. The purse was kept by the city while they decided what to do with its contents. Everyone agreed the best thing was to track down the owner. Notes in the purse suggested the little girl's name was Beverly Williams, but the school district couldn't find anyone by that name in the records. That was when they realized that Beverly was her middle name. Soon they figured out her first name was Andrea, then they ran her through an ancestry database. They learned the teenage girl from 1959 had passed away in 2015. Luckily, though, they were able to track down her surviving husband and 9 children. Imagine their surprise when they were given their mother's lost purse from 60 years ago. How would you feel? Let me know in the comments below. Number 6. Tombstones on the Beach. In San Francisco, surfers have been stumbling across tombstones on the beach. There are all kinds of things you might expect to find while strolling along the coast, but tombstones certainly aren't one of them. They were revealed by shifting sand and strong wind, a gruesome reminder of San Francisco's past. The tombstones and shattered grave markers were used a few decades ago to create the Ocean Beach seawall. One of the intact marble tombstones showed the name of Delia Presby Oliver. She died on April 9, 1890. Historical records show that her remains were reburied in the early 20th century when the city's cemeteries were shifted to Colma. It was part of an initiative to make more room in the rapidly growing city. Oliver's tombstone and thousands of others were used as landfill for the seawall or otherwise repurposed throughout San Francisco. For example, some gravestones were used to line the gutters of Haight-Ashbury's Buena Vista Park. Others were used to build the seawall that stretches along the Great Highway. Other tombs were simply dumped into the San Francisco Bay. It's a great piece of history, but not all that mysterious. John Martini, a San Francisco historian, said strong winds reveal bizarre pieces of history all the time. A couple of years ago, winds blew sand off the ruins of a wrecked sailing ship named King Philip from the 19th century, but it vanished again as the winds changed direction. Number 5. Roman stables. A family in Israel was doing some digging in their backyard when they came across something they weren't expecting. Their digging led to the discovery of an underground cave network. Archaeologists were called in to investigate. They found an elaborate construction dating back to the days of the Romans 2,000 years ago. Researchers think the underground system was part of a stable for horses. The complex was found in a small village called Ailabun, about 11 miles from Nazareth. Nazareth being the city where Jesus was supposedly raised as a child. Archaeologists say the caves were likely dug by Romans and used for storage and for keeping animals. They came to this conclusion when they found holes chiseled into the walls that they believed were used for tying up horses. They also found a trough carved from stone that had either been filled with water or food. The big mystery is that these stables are underground. Archaeologists were a little stumped at first, trying to figure out how the horses got down there and why the Romans didn't build the stables on ground level. But archaeology inspector Near Distelfeld thinks he's solved it. Near said the stable was on ground level 2,000 years ago, but over the centuries, dirt and silt built up so much that now the stables are 9 feet beneath the surface, forming caves. It's shocking to think just how much a landscape can change merely from shifting dirt. Number 4. World War II cash. At an outdoor retail store called Cotswold Outdoor in Brighton, England, they sell things like tents and sleeping bags. But during some recent renovations, worker Russ Davis made an astounding discovery. Russ ripped up the rotten carpet and tore out the old flooring. Underneath, he came across a thick stump. At first, he thought it was a block of wood. He snapped the rotten wood in half and was shocked to see a single British pound note fall out. Then he found more notes and more notes and more notes. 130,000 pounds was hiding underneath the floor of Cotswold Outdoor. People had been shopping for outdoor gear while walking over the equivalent of about $2 million in today's US currency, enough money to buy a fancy condo in New York City or a 6-bedroom house in Oregon. The money was from World War II. Rather than keep it, the store gave the money to the local police. Russ was worried the cash may have come from a bank robbery, or it may have been stashed during the war by someone who died. The investigation that followed revealed what really happened. From 1936 until 1973, the building was a gown shop. It sold designer gowns and high-end furs. The shop had customers like Winston Churchill and members of the royal family. It's no surprise that they had so much money hidden underneath the floors. The money was likely forgotten during the war, put there by whoever had owned the store in the 1940s, in case they needed to flee from the Nazis.
Would you turn the money in or keep it for yourself? Let me know in the comments below and hit that subscribe button while you're at it.
Number 3. The Pit. Sometimes fossils are found in unexpected places. At a strip mall in southern New Jersey, paleontologists working with Drexel University discovered a piece of the past. They uncovered the fossilized remains of animals that died 65 million years ago when the legendary asteroid crashed into the planet. Researchers are saying it could be the most significant find in decades, and it's in a dirty pit behind a New Jersey mall. Paleontologist Ken Lacovara believes the fossils in the pit represent thousands of animals that died when the dinosaurs went extinct. It could be the only collection in the world of animals who died during the actual cataclysm, the explosion itself caused by the asteroid. Researchers have been digging in the pit behind the mall for the past few years. They discovered the fossil of a Thoracosaurus crocodile, a beastly reptile that once lived along the prehistoric coast. Not to mention plenty of mosasaur bones. The New Jersey Strip Mall and the pit out back are in an area that was once a shallow coastal environment. It was like a coastal swamp, home to ferocious sea monsters and bog beasts. Number 2. Ming Dynasty Banknote. A team of specialists at an Australian auction house recently came across a banknote from the Ming Dynasty in a very unexpected place. The specialists were cataloging a collection of important Asian art for an upcoming sale. They were handling a large wooden figure when they found some money hidden inside an empty space. The crumpled banknote had been shoved into a hollow inside an 800-year-old Chinese sculpture. Workers at the auction house said it isn't even that unusual to find random pieces of loot hidden in sculptures. Although normally it's stones or scrolls left inside the wooden figures, almost never a banknote. The statue is of a Luohan, somebody who completed all 4 stages of enlightenment and reached nirvana. It was created sometime between 1279 and 1368 during the Yuan Dynasty. That was the dynasty created by Genghis Khan and his offspring after they destroyed the Western Xia and conquered most of Asia. In 1273, Kublai Khan began to issue paper banknotes called Chao. It was one of the most important milestones in the development of the modern monetary system. It was the first global use of paper currency as the main medium for trade. What in the world was the banknote doing in the statue? The official red seals stamped on the note prove that it came from 1368 to 1398, just after the Yuan dynasty was over. There's even a note that says the money was authorized by the Department of Finance and that any counterfeiter will be beheaded. It also says that anyone who snitches on a counterfeiter will be rewarded all the property of the person they snitch on. Number 1. The Benin Bronzes. The Benin Bronzes are a collection of African artworks forged by master metalsmiths starting in the 16th century. There are about 3,000 of these bronze relics, each one more impressive than the last. Researchers have known for a long time that they were sculpted by the Edo people of the Benin Kingdom, which once dominated modern Nigeria. They were made from brass rings that were used during the transatlantic slave trade. The rings, known as manillas, were melted then reshaped into works of art. They started out as bracelets used to purchase people who had been enslaved. Researchers are interested in finding out where the metal had come from in the first place. They were able to trace the metal back to mines in Germany's Rhineland. Study author Tobias Skowronek says the Benin Bronzes are the most famous West African works of art in the world. Everyone had assumed the brass came from England or maybe Belgium, but the new study found unexpectedly that the metal came from Germany. It was mined and crafted into bracelets, then sent 3,900 miles away to Benin. In West Africa, between the 16th and 19th centuries, manillas were hugely valuable. These were like bars of gold. They could be traded from one group to another for anything important. British, Spanish, and Dutch slavers used them for purchasing gold, ivory, and slaves. In 1897, the British invaded Benin. They discovered all those manillas molded into the Benin Bronzes. Unsurprisingly, the British took the treasures and sold them to museums across the globe. Thanks for watching! Which discovery was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!